Hello, hello. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. So grab whatever you need. Maybe grab a couple blocks, a bolster, big or small, blanket. You know, my teacher always used to have us cover up for Shavasana. And I ended up loving it because I always found that I would get really cold at the end of class when I was relaxing. So anyway, and you can bring your own blanket. You can use our blankets. And we'll just settle in. So if you have a block or a bolster, then go ahead and take a seat and close your eyes. And we'll just start to bring ourselves into the space, into our bodies, as I pick from our yogic path deck to enlighten us a little bit on another aspect of yoga. Tapas. Let's see. Tapas. I believe that it's like fiery, but maybe I'm wrong. 93. So we're breathing in and out through the nose and finding our posture a little more. So allow yourself, maybe roll your shoulders a few times in each direction, and you take some nice deep breaths. Find your posture, lengthen up, tap into your body, your breath. We're breathing in and out through the nose, into the belly. And as we settle into the breath, we begin to fill, right? Our belly expands. Halfway through that inhalation, we draw the navel back toward the spine and continue to fill up through the ribs, into the chest, up to your collarbones. And then there's a gentle hold there. And when we're ready to exhale, we exhale slowly and it comes down from the collarbones, through the ribs, back to the belly where we draw the navel back toward the spine again and release air from the lungs, right? We get into those little nooks and crannies of the lungs on the inhale and the exhale, the places that we don't typically get to with our regular daily breathing. So it's one of tapas, I was wrong, it's a niyama. So it's part of the self-discipline aspect of the 8 limbs of yoga. You have the yama, universal, morals, and then we have niyama, which is self-discipline. And it says you've gotten where you are because of your discipline, which is tapas. And this will continue to take you where you need to go. While discipline sounds like a heavy word, it is really just committing to becoming the highest version of yourself. The next evolvement will require refinement of your inner strength. You are undergoing a deep transformation, stepping outside of your comfort zone, gaining strength, moving through fear. Now is the time to ask yourself the important questions. What practices have I committed to? What practices do I still need to commit to? Is my daily routine serving me? How can I improve? Where do I need to set boundaries in my life to further align with my truth? Am I showing up for myself the way I would for a friend or child? The word discipline, I don't think that it's a heavy word, actually. It's kind of like, you know, we talk about simplifying. Let's simplify. Like, no, we're not simple. We're complex. We don't always have, we have the ability to withstand complexity. So just like discipline, if you want to create meaningful things in your life, you have to make that commitment and show up over and over and over again. The discipline is what carves out the creation. So don't be afraid of discipline. Discipline, it's not heavy. It doesn't have to be heavy. It just means that you're committing It's good to commit to yourself. You know, that's what yoga is. That's why we show up. That's discipline, showing up week after week after week, year after year, decade after decade. It's discipline. So it doesn't have to be fierce discipline, you know, like the super intense thing where we have to show up unless this is what you commit to, you know, but make it like work within a little bit out of your comfort zone, but still within the realm of achieving, being able to actually show up, right? So instead of saying I'm going to wake up every day at 4:30 a.m. and go for a run, and if you've never been a runner, then you're setting yourself up for failure. But if you say, once a week I'm going to start walking for 3 months, at 9 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night, I'm going to walk for 30 minutes for 3 months. Then after 3 months you do that. Then maybe you do it 2 or 3 times a week for another 3 months. And then from there, for another 3 months, you know, you pick up your, so it's a process. Discipline is a process, but it's the showing up, you know, in the evolution of the process. Just like with our breathing, for those of you that have been coming here or practicing yoga for any length of time, you've realized that your breath, you're able to become, I'll say this, you're able to become aware of your breath. You're able to control it a little bit. You know, you're able to slow it down. You have probably felt the reaction of breathing slow and easy in your body, how your body calms down. And we practice from this place of a calm nervous system. So a few more breaths here. Let's place our hands on our bellies and just feel our breath. We inhale and fill the lower belly, the lower abdomen, and halfway through the inhalation, we draw the navel back toward the spine and continue to inhale and draw the breath up through the ribs, into the chest, all the way up to the collarbones. Gentle hold as we exhale, and it comes back down, ribs, belly, drawing the navel back. One more breath like that. I realize that I'm recording on my phone, so I'm going to have to go look at the time every now and then. So if you see my face really up close on the screen, I have to look at how long I've been recording. I noticed that Zoom or the microphone on the computer picks up the sound of there's an electrical box behind the shelf that makes a noise, and it picks it up so much. You probably have heard it in some of the other videos. Anyway, we're working on the audio to get a better system in here. But we're going to come off of our bolster or block and come onto our back. So I'd like to work on some core today. We know the importance of core. Keeps our low back healthy, it strengthens our other postures, it connects us with the soles of our feet where we root down into our feet. So coming onto our backs, let's slide this stuff out of the way. Bring the knees into the chest. Lightly holding on to your legs, or maybe some gentle rocking just to get in touch with the low back and spine. And we'll come back to center, taking your arms out wide, palms down, So we're going to engage the core. So we're drawing the navel back toward the spine, and we're moving the knees away from the chest. So when I move my knees away from the chest, my knees are above my hips, and you'll feel the core engage. So draw the navel back, place your hand on your belly, feel the abdominal muscles, the superficial muscles draw back. So they're not tenting up, they're drawing back. And if you need extra support, if having your arms out wide is too intense, you can always tuck your hands under your backside for that support. But I encourage you to work on strengthening. So try to keep your arms out wide. And then our lower legs are parallel with the floor. We can flex the feet just a little bit, and we'll begin to rock from side to side. So you don't have to rock too far over. Just a gentle rocking. So you get in touch with your core. We inhale through center. Exhale as your legs come to one side. We're also twisting the spine. So we want to really work our way into this slowly and allow our bodies to warm up properly. We don't have to throw ourselves into anything too crazy. And if that's too intense, you can always draw the knees in towards your chest a little bit more, keeping the core engaged. We're rocking from side to side, and we're turning our head away from our knees, and we start to go a little bit lower to each side. And take it really slow so you can keep it controlled with the core. We're inhaling center. Exhale as we take it to one side. Inhale center. And exhale. Just keep on moving and breathing. Twisting, engaging the core. And let's take it back to center. Extend your legs up toward the ceiling. Of course, if you need a break at all, because you are slightly engaging your core the whole time, then just set your feet on the mat, relax your belly, take a couple breaths, and then come back to join us when you're ready. We're going to keep the arms out wide here. We'll inhale. And on your exhale, move slow. We're going to slowly bend the knees down. So your knees are above your hips here. You're engaging your core. And we're going to very lightly touch the mat, just barely. Unless you feel like you need that break, then set your feet down all the way. And we'll inhale and lift. So we're engaging the core. Legs extend up toward the ceiling. Maybe drawing the legs back toward the head a little. So when we do that, we're really engaging, working to lift the tailbone off the mat. And exhale as you slowly lower. When your knees come right above your hips, you're going to start to bend your legs and slowly lower your feet back to the floor. Inhale as you lift, extend, draw the legs in, working to lift the hips a little bit, and exhale, lower. Engaging the whole time, inhale, and exhale. And if for some reason, whatever it is, you're not keeping up with my breathing pattern, it's okay. Just make sure you're always breathing. Maybe just your toes are touching the mat. Now we're pointing the toes. Inhale and exhale. Just a couple more times. Good. This time, plant your feet down. Take a breath. Relax your abdomen. You'll feel your low back relax. And let's bring soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Reaching the arms overhead. Interlock your fingers, point your index fingers. Take a couple breaths. Pressing the soles of the feet together, a little pressure there to open the knees a little more. So in that opening of the knees, you feel your glutes engage a bit, And then we'll draw the navel back toward the spine. So it's not a super passive posture this time around, like sometimes we do. We want to feel our engagement here. Pressing the soles of the feet together, knees drop out wider, draw the navel back. We're breathing, one more breath here. Good, let's draw the knees together. Arms come down by your sides. Let the knees drop together, feet out a little bit wider than hip width. So we're just opening through the sacrum. A couple breaths. And now extend your right leg out and lift your left leg up toward the ceiling. So this is part of the 5 Tibetan rites. I think it's part of that. I could be wrong actually. It's part of some system. Maybe it's Kundalini actually. We're gonna circle, and you probably have done this with me before if you've been coming for any length of time, 3 or 6 months. We're gonna circle the left leg. Let's do it clockwise to start. And we'll start with small circles, and then we gradually grow the circles bigger and bigger. And we're engaging the core. So again, more core. We have to build the core. Every once in a while we do these core practices that help support the rest of our practice. They help support so much. Big circles, really engaging. Let's slow those circles way down. Maybe take your hands to your abdomen so you can feel the engagement happening. And we're breathing and circling. And let's change direction. Slow circles. And again, take a break if you start to have that, super intensity or your abdomen's on fire a little bit too much. But if you can withstand, then withstand. Your hip flexor is going to be working a little bit here too. So you might want to give that a break. Mine was just unhappy. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, release your foot down. And we'll slide that left leg out. Taking the right leg up toward the ceiling. Let's start clockwise. Small circles. Making that core engagement here. Remembering to breathe. Bigger and bigger. And we'll change direction, start big. Remember to breathe. Smaller and smaller circles. Keep it strong. And we'll inhale. On your exhale, plant your foot down and extend your leg out. Give yourself a big stretch, arms overhead, deep breath, point your toes. Draw the knees in towards your chest, extend them up toward the ceiling, legs up toward the ceiling, and arms down by your sides or maybe slightly tucked under. Engaging the core, let's inhale, and on your exhale, slowly lower your legs down. Almost all the way to the mat. Take it as far as you can. Connect with those deep core muscles. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, lift, bend your knees if you need to. Take a break if you need to. Just listen to your body. Exhale. If you want to work with a little more intensity, arms overhead. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. bend your knees in towards your chest. Cross your ankles, let your knees open a little. Rock from side to side. Deep breaths. And now we'll bend and straighten. So bicycle legs, circling. You can start with your legs up in the air. This is really good for your digestive system, the functioning. And then if you want to go to a little deeper intensity, you can start to lower the legs as you continue to pedal and pedal, lower and lower, and then we'll take it back up. Keeping that core engaged, straight up. We'll do one more time, lowering. Just remember to breathe. Keep tension out of your face and neck. Breathe and pedal. Breathe and pedal. Good. And let's release our feet to the mat. Rock your knees from side to side slowly. Inhale through center. Exhale as they rock to the side. And we'll come back to center. Knees in toward the chest. Let's hold behind the knees. Of course, you have the option of rolling onto your side and supporting yourself up to a seated position. But let's roll on the spine a few times if you feel like you want to give that a try. Rolling up and down. And breathe. Giving your spine a massage. Good, and we'll come up to a seated position. Let's come into cobbler's pose. Soles of the feet together, drawing the feet in, lengthening up through the spine. I'm toe holding here, index finger, middle finger around my big toes, but you can hold on to your shins. You can wrap your hands around your feet. Let's rock from side to side a few times, releasing the muscles off of the sit bones. And then lengthening. Breathe. Get still. One more breath here. To rock forward onto our hands and knees. And let's just loosen up through the spine and back a little more before we continue to work on the core. Let's inhale and drop the belly, lift the head, and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, roll through, and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back to center. So let's all start with a modified plank, just so we know where we're at. A modified plank, we sink the hips down. So if you take a look, I'm not on my hands and knees. I drop my hips, I spread my fingers wide, my shoulders are strong, I'm lifting my head, I'm tucking my tailbone a little bit, and I feel that engagement in my core. So I'm still working very similarly to a full plank. And I'm working up to eventually a full plank, or maybe today is just a day where you want to modify. And we're breathing. And let's begin to rock the hips from side to side. So in that rocking, it's like we're drawing the hip down toward the mat. Gently, side to side. Keep the core engaged. Side to side. Couple more times to each side. Good, and then we take it back to center. And let's bring it into our puppy pose. So walking your hands out in front, Dropping your chest and chin to the mat if that's within your practice. Maybe it's your forehead that comes down. And if that's too intense, you can always sit your hips back a little bit more and extend the arms. So we're not in full, we're in half puppy pose, between puppy and child's pose, both playful. And breathe. Just finding that little release through the abdomen, and we'll come back up to table. And let's tuck our toes and come up into down dog. So as you come up into down dog, you can pedal your feet, create more space in your body, find your breath. Start to find that lift through the hips. You're breathing into your belly. Traditional foot placement, we take the big toes together, heels slightly apart, and we'll come into stillness and hold, gazing back toward the knees. And as we begin to move through, focus on the core. We're going to move slow so we can feel our way into it and how it lifts us, how it helps us move from posture to posture and holds us in the posture. So let's soften your elbows a little bit. Let's draw the left knee in toward the nose and round your back and squeeze it in like you're really trying to make that connection. Remember to breathe and then step it back to your down dog. And we'll take the right knee in and squeeze. Inhale as you would set your right foot back down. And exhale, left knee in. Inhale, set it down. Squeeze the core, exhale, right knee in. Inhale, set it down. Core is engaged as we inhale to plank, knees up or down. And then we'll begin that hip rocking from side to side. Keeping the core strong. Rock the hips from side to side and breathe. Good, and from here, take your feet out a little bit wider and let's come down to our forearms. Again, your knees can be down here. You can be modified. If you need a break, you come up to your hands and knees, cat-cow, child's pose. Just always listening to your body. And this could feel challenging. The core strengthening is challenging. And we're going to rock from side to side here, keeping the core engaged. Navel back toward the spine. We're breathing. Now go ahead and lower it down. And we'll come into our Sphinx posture to counter the core engagement. Spread your fingers out wide. Elbows are under the shoulders. Take your feet out to the width of your mat, drawing the heart forward. Check in with the low back. If it's still pinching a little bit, take your elbows further forward so you're not as high up. And breathe into your belly. We'll take one more breath here. Good. Slide your hands back under your shoulders. Let's inhale and peel up to cobra. Engaging the backside of your body. Your feet are still out wide. And let's shift the shoulders forward and back one at a time. So as your left shoulder comes forward, you're turning your head to the right side. As your right shoulder comes forward, you're turning your head to the left side. Forward and back. High or low. So just listen to your body. And we'll take it back to center, and then even slower, make your way back to table. Sit back towards your heels and come into child's pose. If you can come in with your legs together, then I suggest doing that for decompression of the spine. If you need to have your knees out wide, that is perfectly okay. And we'll extend the arms out forehead comes down to touch either the mat, your hands, or a block. So sometimes when you sit with your legs together, it's more supportive to have your head on a block. And let's take the arms back by our legs now and breathe. Taking 2 more breaths here. And when you're ready to rise, we'll come up to table first. And let's step to the outsides of our hands, down into a squat. Your feet are as flat as you can get them. Make adjustments, see where that takes you. Hands together at heart center. And if your squat is not there for you today, if your knees are bothering you, just come up into a fold here. If you're in your squat, let's inhale and rise up to standing. Inhale, lifting. Try to turn your toes straight ahead. And we'll take our feet to hip width. And let's breathe. Maybe close your eyes or soften your gaze. And if it feels like it's within your practice, you can take your big toes together here, heels slightly apart. Working on the core. Once again, I'm going to take our hands to heart center. So as we stand here, go ahead and lift your toes and feel into the soles of your feet. And what's happening there, right? How it's drawing up through the arch. You feel that little lift there in the arch. And then bring your awareness up your legs, your knees press back, and lift. Your quadriceps engage. Navel draws back toward the spine, and you're kind of lengthening up. You're not really tucking the tailbone, but you're connecting with your core engagement. So there's not a big arch in your back and your pelvis isn't tilted forward. You're just neutral here. But we're lengthening up and strengthening. And from there, we have a gentle focal point out on the floor with our soft gaze. And we're gonna lift the left knee. So as we lift, we're engaging, lengthening the spine, lifting that knee up as high as we can, flexing the foot. So we're not moving our pelvis forward or back. We're just keeping it neutral and lengthening. Exhale as you slowly lower. Right side, inhale, knee lifts. And exhale, it lowers. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift right leg. Exhale, lower. Good, let's lift the left knee again. We're going to take our arms out wide. Let's come into goddess arms, elbows lifted just slightly above the shoulders. Spread your fingers. Drop the shoulders. Keep the knee up. Draw the navel back. Remember to breathe. Just find your balance. Maybe use the wall. We'll inhale. On the exhale, slowly lower and shake it out. We come back to center, hands at heart center. Building again, lift your toes, legs are strong, core. The right knee lifts, flexing that foot. Holding, lengthening the spine. Remember, the core is engaged. We'll take the arms out. Elbows are above shoulders slightly. Spread your fingers wide. Breathe. Lift that knee. Inhale. on your exhale, release. Good. Countering that, but continuing to work on the core. Foot placement, big toes touch, heels part slightly. So our toes are still pointing straight ahead. We're going to build up again from the foundation of the feet, lifting the toes. Legs are strong and engaged, the core. Now our arms are going to come out and up and clasp behind our head. So we're taking the elbows out wide, pressing the hips forward, and feeling our spine, the front of our torso, lengthen and lift. We're lifting our heart toward the ceiling. So a little back bend, engaging the core, engage your glutes, right? So squeeze the glutes, lengthening the front of your body, lift the heart, and your head is supported. Feel strong here, breathe. And let's come back through center. Inhale as you reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale, dive into your fold. Hands to shins, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale. Legs, knees are bent or legs are straight, whatever is in your flexibility. Let's inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, flat back as you swan dive back down. Nice and slow, slow, slow. I'm still diving. Hopefully you are too. Let's come down. Hands to shins, just lightly touch the shins. Hands are barely there as you inhale and lift. Engage your core. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees. Inhale, reverse. Good, arms up. On your exhale, clasp your hands behind your head, just like we did before, and then build from the soles of the feet. Legs engage, glutes, hips press forward, core. Lift the heart, lift the head, open the elbows, and breathe. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Let's inhale and step back to our plank. We should feel a little lighter in our bodies at this point. And we can rock the hips again from side to side, drawing the navel back toward the spine. Good. Come back to center. Lift your hips, so keep your core engaged and let that lift you back to down dog. Inhale. Stepping your down dog in a little bit so we can release the heels to the mat, or at least very close to the mat. And breathe. Let's inhale, left leg out and up, coming up on our right toes. Exhale as you draw the knee in toward the nose, round your back, squeezing into the core. Inhale, extend it back out. Exhale, draw it in. Look between your hands. Keep the core engaged as you step that foot between your hands into your lunge. Good, engage the core again. Slowly lift your foot, thigh into chest, and step it back to down dog. So very slow movement. Inhale, right leg out and up on your left toes. Exhale, knee in toward your nose, round your back, squeeze. Inhale, extend. Exhale, squeeze it in, hold it. Take your gaze between your hands. Core stays strong as you step it through into your lunge. As you begin to lift the hips here, core is engaged again. Your thigh is attached to your ribs, picking up the foot, stepping back to down dog. Take a deep breath. Inhale up to your toes. Exhale, knees come down, and let's take it back to child's pose again. Knees together, knees out wide. If your knees bother you at all, keep your hips up. Doing good on time, you guys. Stay with your breath. Stay with the discipline. Remember tapas. One more breath here. Now we're going to work on something a little bit different. We've done core for the whole class, so make sure you have 2 blocks. Go ahead and grab some if you didn't grab any before. And we're going to come up to our hands and knees. And from here, let's take the right foot forward in between the blocks. And we're going to walk our blocks back. So we come a little more upright. So we're not all the way up. We want to keep our blocks on the mat. And from here, we kind of drop the belly, lengthen the spine, reach the heart forward. And this front leg is still bent, as you can see. And now from here, we're going to slide that right leg out. So my hips are basically stacked over my left knee. And we're doing a half split. Okay, and we're pulling. Let's peel those right toes back, engaging this front leg. A half Hanumanasana. Hanuman, the monkey god, leapt over the ocean to find the cure. Or Lakshman. And we breathe. Again, we connect with our commitment to the discipline. We'll take one more breath here. And to release, let's walk the blocks forward. We're going to come back to the core a little bit. Engage your core. Draw the navel back here. And then as much as you can soften up in this right heel on the mat, start to draw that knee, lifting the foot. Maybe your foot hovers above the mat here, and then taking your knee back to meet the left knee. Take a breath, and we're going to come forward that way as well. We can use the core as we lift the left knee, drawing that foot forward. Good. Walk the blocks back. So we're stacking hips over the knee. And the blocks are on the mat, and we're kind of engaging that right glute a little bit. We want to keep the knees protected, and we're drawing the heart forward, shoulders back. So we sink down. Maybe not really supposed to sink down. So pulling, there we go, the left hip back and extending this left leg forward for our half split. And we're going to peel the toes back. You can point the toes here and you can peel them back. So we're peeling them back. Our hips are aligned, our heart is reaching forward. Let's look forward this time. Soften the gaze, find a focal point. And breathe. Soften your eyes. So they're just kind of lazily opened. And you're looking beyond. So you're softening edges. So I just noticed that the video had stopped. But we can continue because you didn't know that. So if we're going to go deeper, if you'd like, so you know the variations of the half Hanumanasana, which you're more than welcome to revisit. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, then we're going to take the right foot forward. So again, use the core, take that foot forward. And now we're going to tuck the back toes and sink down into the hips. Okay, so now look at my left leg. I have this drop here, this angle. And I'm engaging the core, engaging my legs so I can lengthen up and walk my blocks back. So I'm as upright as possible here. And now I'm going to take my right leg and slide it out in front. So I come into this split. And of course, if I was super flexible, I would be all the way down to the mat, but I don't have that really anymore because I don't go crazy trying to, force any of the more intense postures at this time in my life. But I do believe that we can approach that if we want to at any time in life and really make headway. But we're breathing here. Look forward, soften your gaze, look beyond, and find that connection of being in your body and gazing. Really engaging the body. Smooth out the breath. We'll take one more breath. And to release, we're going to pull the hips back. Take the blocks up higher. Or just do what you need to do to release out of this slowly and controlled, so we stay conscious and mindful of how we're moving our bodies with this more advanced posture. And then when you're ready, we'll take the left foot forward. And now here, since our knees were already back, we can rock forward and sink down and lift up. So we're engaging and lengthening and sliding the left foot out to see where we are in our full expression of Hanumanasana. Opening the heart, drop the chin, gazing out, yet staying aware in our bodies. Core stays strong. One more breath. And we can walk the blocks forward, up high, so that way we can slide this left heel back, bend the knee, and take that knee back. And we're going to come into a seated position back on the heels. Hands on your thighs. You can come into easy cross leg here as well. Just listen to your body. Breathing to feel and bask in the reverberations of your practice today. And you can imagine part of the yoga teacher training that I'm in now, and studying clear light, Vajra yoga. We imagine ourselves, or there's this place when we are enlightened, or we realize the real reality, as Bob Thurman would say. Clear light is like the light of the moon. You imagine how the moon lights things up, right? So it's not necessarily bright like the sun, but it's this even glow. So you imagine yourself, you can imagine yourself to be that even glow, like moonlit. Maybe a sense of freedom in that moonlight, that clear light. And we'll rock off to one side and support ourselves onto our backs. And you can check in with your body there. And bring in some movement, maybe knees into chest, you rock from side to side. You might use a bolster along your back for Shavasana. This is all in preparation for Shavasana. So if you're using a big bolster, I recommend sitting at the very, very edge of it and supporting yourself back. Maybe use blocks if your head hangs off the end, arms out wide. Or again, you're rocking from side to side with your knees into your chest, twisting, maybe shoulders standing, bridging, if you're familiar with that. If you're not, we'll get to it another day. And eventually just coming into your corpse pose. We draw the shoulders away from the ears, back toward the mat a little bit. If your legs are extended, you extend your legs out from your hips. And then relax, where you let your feet flop open. You connect with your breath and just allow yourself to float, to get to that place where you're in between waking and dreaming or sleeping. And I'm going to read, and this is just passive listening. You don't have to effort, you don't have to think about what I'm reading, you're just allowing it to come in like rain falls on the soil. Right, it just happens. Nobody's doing anything. The rain's not trying, the soil's not trying, but yet the soil absorbs. It's called the Song of the Soul. Excuse me. I am neither ego nor reason. I am neither mind nor thought. I cannot be heard nor cast into words, nor by smell, nor by sight ever caught. In light and wind I am not found, nor yet in earth and sky. Consciousness and joy incarnate, bliss of the blissful am I. I have no name. I have no life. I breathe no vital air. No elements have molded me. No bodily sheath is my lair. I have no speech, no hands and feet, nor means of evolution. Consciousness and joy am I, and bliss in dissolution. I cast aside hatred and passion. I conquered delusion and greed. No touch of pride caressed me, so envy never did breed. Beyond all faiths, past reach of wealth, past freedom, past desire, consciousness and joy am I, and bliss is my attire. Virtue and vice, or pleasure and pain, are not my heritage, nor sacred texts, nor offerings, nor prayer, nor pilgrimage. I am neither food nor eating, nor yet the eater am I. Consciousness and joy incarnate, bliss of the blissful am I. I have no misgiving of death, no chasms of race divide me. No parent ever called me child, no bond of birth ever tied me. I am neither disciple nor master. I have no kin, no friend. Excuse me. Consciousness and joy am I, and merging in bliss is my end. Neither knowable knowledge nor knower am I. Formless is my form. I dwell within the senses, but they are not my home. Ever serenely balanced, I am neither free nor bound. Consciousness and joy am I, and bliss is where I am found. Fingers and your toes. Either staying here or rolling onto your right side. Rolling onto your right side, you're curling up. Either way, you're gathering the energy of your practice into your heart. It will continue to serve you. That gathering, you realize there's enough to extend out to someone you love. It's an anonymous donation of love. So much care, supporting yourself up to a seated position. Eyes are closed. Breathing in gratitude. Hands at heart center. Our heads down toward our hearts to honor the wisdom within. We bow a little deeper to honor the hearts and wisdom of our many, many teachers and ancestors. seal our practice with the sound of Om. Let's take a deep breath in. To move slowly, mindfully. Bring your practice with you into the rest of your day and night.